say because we're not elite athletes, that's like the closest we could get to having to deal with what happened in the men's steeple, where they rang the bell lap twice.
Oh, yeah.
Where the look in the eyes of Keegan when he's crossing, thinking he had just finished his bell lap with the impressive kick, and then had to be told, "You got to do it again, man. You got to kick again. You have to do one more lap." I felt so much pain I felt so much pain for him because he was sprinting so much in that second to last lap, thinking he was coming home for a victory with going into the weekend, putting all that hard work, and then being told right before you cross the finish line, hey, no, we're going to need you to run again. We're going to run one more lap.
Well, the thing is,
I feel like they did him dirty.
This happens. Imagine this happened in the Olympics. I mean, we're fortunate that I don't know if they just have better officials at the Olympics. Like, in the NFL, they have their so-called best referees do the Super Bowl. To my knowledge, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, maybe a listener, this has never happened in the Olympics. I mean, can you imagine the disaster that this has happened? But Monaco has had some issues in the past. I think back to 2019, that 400 fiasco where Jonathan Jones and some other guy, I forget. Jonathan Jones they called the race back. He literally ran the entire race not knowing what was going, if they had called it back. So Monaco's had its share of issues. My thing is, we obviously have a universal track and field sign for the last lap. It's the bell. What we need is when they mistakenly do the bell and the officials do that, we need a sign that everyone recognizes or a sound that everyone recognizes to call that bell off. Like a siren or something. Be like, so that everybody would know, hey, it's a mistake. We were just kidding. That was a false alarm. Because this happens more than people realize. Like I said, thank goodness it's never happened, to my knowledge, at the Olympics or on a bigger stage than this. But yeah, poor Keegan. My thing though is also, you're a world-class athlete, and I know it is not his fault. I'm not blaming him. Did he not at any time look up at the clock when he was finishing, when it still said like 6 minutes and something? And you're like, are you so tired that you can't put that together? That I'm not asking him to count laps, but like, what do you think? What is your brain? I know you're in a fatigued state, but are you looking at the clock and being like, putting it together that I'm sprinting? I heard the bell, so it should be the last lap. But at the same time, the clock is reading 6:50 something. So that can't be right. Maybe I should keep running. I have a lot of questions coming off of that. Basically, we need to figure out this thing with the officials. That's the first thing. The second thing is, especially at Monaco, because like you mentioned, all the money they put in this meet, they've had some snafus last couple of years. But for the athlete, it's like, you should probably know that you're not about to run 6:50 for a steeplechase. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, when you don't do math in your head, you're not thinking about time. You might think the clock is wrong, and it's just, you're relying on the bell means I'm done. How would why would a bell ringer lie to me? In this case, they did. But yeah, Keegan, I'm trying to figure out what his final lap was. I mean, he was in the lead. I guess I can't remember. These splits are really weird. They don't tell you how fast the split.
They're strange. They're every 100 meters, so that is why you would think you would need a split every 100 meters. I think at the bell he was at.
How do you read this? How do you read these splits?
So I got it. Elon. He was 6:50. He was 6:57 at the bell, and then he finished 8:15. So he ran a 78 last lap.
Okay. Yeah, they need to work on these split graphics. Anyway. So yeah, but the win was good. I mean, I think it wasn't that crazy of a race. Bohr got 5th in it. Just the wildness of Benjamin Keegan thinking he was coming home for dinner and then being told, no, you gotta go out and do some more yard work in front of his. You could just see he's like, God damn it, this is the worst thing ever. So felt bad for him.
I mean, yeah, it's just you forget. I mean, I haven't done a track race in a million. Sorry, my phone thing is triggering off the thing. People are texting me about the steeple thing. It's crazy. No, I'm just kidding. You forget how much when you don't. I haven't raced in a long time, but when you're kicking, you really expend everything, and that was shown with Keegan. Because I think back of obviously lower stakes than this, but like Lopez Lemong kicked a lap early and sprinted all the way. And he was still able to run like a 59 last lap after closing. So you thought maybe that could happen with Keegan, because obviously everyone saw it. The announcers were like, "Oh God, they rang the bell with 800 to go. We can tell what's going to happen." And what they predicted was exactly what happened. But man, he had absolutely nothing after that. So it's too bad for him. Luckily, it wasn't the Olympics.
Yeah, luckily it wasn't the Olympics. It's like, yeah, if you want this to happen, you happen. It's kind of like, you want your marijuana ban to happen in November, not in August. So you want the bell lap to be malfunctioning in April and not August. I guess that's how it works.
The great thing about
side,
I was just going to say, the great thing about the Sha'Carri Richardson ban is now every track and field athlete for sure knows what the ban is for using marijuana. So, and out of competition, I don't think, do they test for marijuana out of competition? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they do, but in competition, they know it's 30 days. So it's like, in April, maybe it's 420 and a track athlete's like, no, it's on the banned list. Well, it's only a 30-day suspension. I'll only be banned until May. I could use a little break. Just go for it, Anyways.
Sha'Carri, in order to get her ban reduced to 30 days, she had to take a class. I wonder, who else is in that class with her? Like, if it's an in-person class, and be like, "Oh yeah, what are you in for?" But you're like, "Oh, what are you here?" And like, "Oh yeah, my mom does, or my dad doesn't want me to smoke weed anymore. I'm 16, whatever. He wants me to focus on my history class." Sha'Carri's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to the Olympics." It's wild.
It's
anyway,
tough. It's a rough